Marcus Rashford's loan deal to Barcelona actually makes sense. Well, kind of. I'm Matt from FourFourTwo, and here's what's on our feed. Right then, Marcus Rashford to Barcelona. It has been dominating our social media pages in the last few days, so it only seems right that we talk about it. And who would have seen this coming? Because I'll be honest, when I saw, maybe it was even in December, that he was offering himself to Barcelona, I was thinking, well, yeah, isn't everybody? Wouldn't everyone love to play for Barcelona? It seemed like a bit of a mismatch. And now that he's effectively burnt bridges with Manchester United, I can't really see him putting together any sort of career back there. And his performances at Aston Villa were a mixed bag, let's say. A couple of goals, a couple of good performances here and there, but overall not really what you'd expect. How on earth is he ending up at Barcelona? Well, let's take a look at what the internet has had to say about it. First off, we'll turn to X, Fabrizio Romano on X. And under his post, 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏𝗔 has commented saying, Rashford, inconsistent form, isn't what Barcelona need right now with their financial struggles, which is a bit odd because I think it's a loan. And financially, Barcelona are in a bit of trouble. Well, they were actually. They're getting a little bit better. And the loan doesn't seem too bad. It's definitely cheaper than spending big money on the likes of 𝗕𝗓𝗓 or Nico Williams. He's also said, for United, letting go of a homegrown talent in his prime feels like poor planning yet again. Both clubs seem more reactive than strategic. I'm actually going to disagree. I think whether or not it's a smart move for Manchester United is yet to be seen. We'll have to come back to this video and look at things in 12 months' time. The obvious plan from them is that he does well. At the end of the season, if he's starting or contributing regularly to Barcelona, you're going to have fans saying, that's the Rashford we needed, we never should have sold him, this, that and the other. But the truth is, Manchester United are putting him out there on loan with a purpose, and that is to, if he plays well, get some money for him. They obviously want to move him on, and they're going to get absolutely nothing for him in the current form that he's in. So it makes sense to get him out there. And actually, when you look at it, putting him in the shop window at a club as big as Barcelona is going to actually be pretty good for them. Like if he does well there, there's, let's call it a proof of concept that he's still got it at the highest level, that he can still play in the Champions League and still deliver on the biggest stage in Europe. And arguably, that's going to get Manchester United a fair chunk of money. I mean, it's why players are loaned out in general. That's nothing new. You know, rediscover form, showcase themselves. But I actually do think it is a fairly decent plan from Manchester United. Although not everyone agrees. Someone on Reddit has said in another year, his contract will be worth even less because he'll only have 12 months to go. And United will be lowballed. That is another option. That is another option, to be fair. But I just think at this point, if he doesn't have a good season or if he stays at United, there's going to be even lower. Obviously, this is all dependent on him doing well at Barcelona. But the fact of the matter is, this loan deal in an attempt to get even a little bit more money is still going to be better off than him not doing anything at Manchester United if 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓 and the club don't want him there. What I would say, though, when it comes to Manchester United and this attempt to, put Rashford in the shop window for a bit more money, is they do need to get better at selling players. 100%. Manchester United need to get better at selling players. I think in the last 5 or 6 years, the most they got, their top 2 sales were Romelu Lukaku went to Inter in 2019 for like 70 million, 75 million, something like that, which is a very good amount of money. And the second highest is Scott McTominay, last summer for 30 million to Napoli. Every single player in the last 5 or 6 years has gone for under 30 million. Now, when you're at Manchester United, I get it, and when they are back in the Champions League or in European football, there aren't too many clubs that you can go to or make a step up. But even so, they've got to make a little bit of money. Like at least something out there to, try and make their bigger gambles not seem so bad. When you look at the likes of Anthony, basically, and Jadon Sancho, they've lost a phenomenal amount of money. Jadon Sancho is reportedly moving on this summer. It looks like he won't be spending any more time at the club. Juventus, as of the recording of this video, were the latest club linked with Sancho for around £21 million. Considering he signed for 73 million, they're losing 52 million. That's 52 million just on the transfer fees. That doesn't then include the fact that they've paid, 350 grand a week for the last few years for him. Yes, they made a tiny bit of money back on that loan to Chelsea. I think Chelsea paid 5 million for the privilege of not having to buy him for like 25. I can't quite remember if they made some money off sending him back to Dortmund, but it's going to be a minuscule amount. The fact is, they lost a lot of money on these players, so they need to be making a little bit elsewhere. Maybe they should look at what Frankfurt are doing, because the 𝗕𝗫𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓 deal to Liverpool is almost done, and it means that selling 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓 to Liverpool, selling Kolo Muani to PSG, and selling Marmoush to Manchester City has bought them in £265 million. And all three of those together cost Frankfurt £16 million. I mean, to be fair, Marmoush and 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏 won a free. That's outrageous. That is unbelievably good. That's like £250 million profit in the space of a couple of years. And to be fair, can I just say at this point, not just Manchester United should be following that. Pretty much every team could do with doing that. I was checking through Reddit because you see the same negativity everywhere. I kind of was thinking that maybe Reddit had something else to offer, but it didn't. This comment says he'll be back in 2 years with his tail between his legs playing for West Ham or Brentford. He's nowhere near as good as he thinks he is. It's pretty harsh on West Ham and Brentford, to be honest. If anything, the last Manchester United player who left the club for West Ham was 𝗬𝗏𝗧𝗏, and he's been doing really well at West Ham. So maybe that could be worth it for Marcus Rashford. And playing for Brentford isn't so bad. Finishing higher in the table than Manchester United are. Oh, this one's really helpful, though. It just says, Rashford has nothing to offer, he's done. Well, maybe Barcelona don't see it the same way. Maybe Hansi Flick doesn't see it the same way, because now we're going to flip the script. From all the negativity, for all the reasons that it won't work, there's a few reasons why it might work. And I've actually come across this interesting post from Score90, who have basically set out 3 different midfield and striking options for Barcelona. The first one you can see here, A, it's called, there's A, B, and C, doesn't have Rashford in it, and I think it's actually the most likely. It's him being on the bench. Basically, going to come off the bench, be a super sub, or play in, I don't know, cup games where they can give other players a rest. It's got Rafinha, Lewandowski, and Yamal as the front 3, with Olmo, De Jong, and Pedri in behind. C is also interesting. It's got Rashford on the left wing, Yamal on the right wing, but Rafinha in the middle with Olmo, De Jong, and Pedri. Not having Lewandowski in the starting lineup seems a bit off to me. Like, I know he's 36, I get it, and they're not going to play him every single game. But I think in an ideal Barcelona starting 11, Lewandowski starts. So this leaves option B. And I think it's quite good. And this is where I'm starting to see that actually Rashford maybe, not a certainty, but maybe will be able to provide something. And it's the fact that the front 3 looks very, very balanced with him and Lamine Yamal either side of Lewandowski. And it's because Rashford sort of has similar traits to Yamal. I don't think he's as good. To be honest, I think Yamal's season last season was better than any season in Rashford's career, but that's besides the point. The fact is, they're both very good dribblers. They carry the ball very well. They're both cut inside to either shoot or link up with Lewandowski or link up with the likes of Rafinha, who also, by the way, in this B option is in, well, he's in the midfield role, but you'd think he's a bit further forward than the likes of Pedri and De Jong. Rashford really mirrors what Yamal brings to the team. And I think that's really, really important for Barcelona. Yamal, obviously, the better he gets, the more teams are going to double up, the more teams are going to stop him on one side. So if you've got someone who can also bring some real threatening attack to the team on the left-hand side, it gives the opposition something to think about rather than being too focused on just the right-hand side. Look, it is a third-tier option. There's no doubt about it. I know that Deco was saying the other day they were never really that close to Nico Williams, but I think we can say at this point, in terms of the hierarchy or the priority of the transfer window, Nico Williams was number 1, right? Then Luis Diaz was number 2. It looks like they're not going to pay the amount of money that Liverpool want, and he's really got his heart set on a move to Bayern Munich. So the third option is Rashford. I don't think he's as good as the other two, but it's more the style of player that Barcelona have clearly identified that they want to have on the left wing. We're talking a high volume of dribbles, a high volume of shots off, a lot of goals, and Rashford will need to live up to this. It's not a given that he's going to do it, but it's the player profile that I think is really, really interesting for Barcelona. And someone said, with Flick getting the best out of every player, we're going to witness Rashford's prime very soon. Prime? Yeah, okay, maybe not too sure about that. However, Hansi Flick getting the best out of players who maybe didn't seem that they were at their best or maybe not past their peak, but on a downward trajectory, I can see this happening. I mean, look at Rafinha, first off. Struggled at Barcelona, early career, actually came close to leaving the club when Xavi was also there, but now he's a Ballon d'Or contender. An unbelievable season. Lewandowski's back at ridiculous levels at age 36. Pedri and Koundé have spoken about how well Hansi Flick has not only tactically changed the team, but helped them as well. And yeah, with Lamine Yamal's ridiculous breakout season, it's fair to say that Hansi Flick has had a fairly big impact on him as well. So maybe there are the coaching qualities to suggest he could get something out of Marcus Rashford. But yeah, there's a few of you also on our YouTube post page that have said for some reason he doesn't run very much. Now, this is definitely something that Hansi Flick has to be aware of and probably doesn't agree with. There's a few people saying he'll shine in short intervals. The rest will be crap due to his unwillingness to run for 90 minutes. He'll be benched by the end of the year, a lazy player who doesn't press or defend. I don't know if you guys in the comments are seeing something different to what Barcelona are seeing, but I'm pretty certain with the levels that Barca reached last year, and given how good of a coach Hansi Flick is, he's not just going to go out there, see that someone clearly can't be asked, and then still bring them in anyway. That seems like a bit of an odd one. I mean, as the saying goes, when you make someone feel appreciated and wanted, they actually will run through brick walls for you, and maybe we'll see Marcus Rashford doing that. Of course, with all that said and done, he could be absolute crap. So you could be laughing at this in a couple of months' time when he's dropping stinker after stinker and isn't even training with the first team. But who knows? It's a loan. It's probably going to be worth it in the end, even if he doesn't hit ridiculous numbers for Barcelona. You know, much like absolutely everybody else in the footballing world, there's a crazy schedule going on, and they will need more than just the first 11. Personally, is he going to be a hit or a miss? I can see some good performances. Better than we've seen in the Premier League. Not consistent enough to suggest he's quite a top-level player for Barcelona. But all in all, a fairly decent loan spell, and he'll get a good move elsewhere at the end of the season. But that is everything that we've seen on our feed concerning Marcus Rashford and Barcelona. Arguably one of the biggest deals of the summer. Let us know in the comment section what you think will happen in the next 12 months, whether he'll be a hit or a miss. Don't forget to subscribe whilst you're there. Smash the like button. And until the next video, I'll see you later.